Got a lot of cornerbacks to go through, honorable mention wise. So let's get started with Marshawn Lattimore, huh? He was number 10 last year. He's dropped a lot since then. I mean, this man was top five before, dropped to number 10. Now he's an honorable mention. Again, he's been injured and he just hasn't been able to really prove his impact on the team and whatnot. But I believe him in Washington for a full year now. I believe that he could definitely come up with some really key contributions, and I think he could definitely become a top corner in the game. Marshawn Lattimore, 29 years old, 7 years in the league, 2 years, $36.5 million on the deal, 9 games played, 34 tackles, 5 pass deflections, targeted 32 times with a 53.1 completion percentage from uh, of the passes were completed with him there. 182 yards that he allowed, 1 touchdown allowed, 91 yards after the catch allowed, 3 times that he blitzed, 1 QB hurry, 3 games played in the playoffs with 15 tackles, a tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections, targeted 14 times, 71.4 completion percentage were there, 154 yards allowed, and 43 yards after the catch allowed. So, yeah, definitely needing of some work, but overall, he has been a really, really key contributor. He's a veteran type player, and he definitely deserves his flowers in terms of being relevant in the league. We got a rookie actually, and we got many rookies here, but rookie honorable mention out of the Washington Commanders was going to learn from a guy like Lattimore and Mike Sandristle. So yeah, he had a tremendous year. First year, I believe that he could definitely become a top guy, and it's a really good pick in terms of the Commander part. It definitely got their defense a lot better. So 24 years old, 1 year in the league, 3 years, $14.7 million. 17 games played, 93 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 interceptions, 14 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. Targeted 96 times with a 60.4 completion percentage, 740 yards allowed, 6 touchdowns allowed, 235 yards after the catch allowed, 4 times that he blitzed, 3 games that he played in the playoffs, 11 tackles, 2 interceptions, 4 pass deflections, targeted 15 times with a 60 completion percentage, 100 yards allowed, 1 touchdown allowed, and 30 yards after the catch allowed. He was ninth in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. Definitely deserving of being here. He's been a stout guy, and I believe him and Marshawn Lattimore are going to be entertaining next year. Definitely had a great game against the Detroit Lions in the divisional, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does. It's Zion McCollum, cornerback out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Definitely a guy that's definitely, I would say, underrated. He's been a tremendous, tremendous asset to this team, and I do enjoy watching Zion McCollum on Sunday. Definitely, I like the Bucks defense. I think they're extremely talented and they're very overlooked. But this is a really good team, man, and they're definitely trying to have the NFC South crown again. 26 years old, 3 years in the league, 1 year, $3.4 million left on his rookie deal. He did have 17 games that he played, 82 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 interceptions, 17 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery. He was targeted 108 times, which is insane. 57.4 completion percentage, 839 yards allowed, 4 touchdowns allowed, 337 yards after the catch allowed, with 6 times that he blitzed, 1 QB hurry. The one playoff game, he had 3 tackles, a tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, targeted 12 times, or targeted 2 times, and obviously 0 completion percentage. And he had 16 yards after the catch allowed. Yeah, overall, very underrated. Definitely a guy that's might not be top 10, but definitely impactful for his team. We got the Seattle Seahawks coming here with Devin Witherspoon, who definitely has superstar potential. I think he's definitely going to take the next step next year. I think he's going to be a top 10 guy, and he's a guy that you need to watch for on a daily basis. He was phenomenal. Devin Witherspoon, last year was honorable mention. This year, obviously honorable mention, but again, he's climbing. 24 years old, 2 years in the league, 2 years, $8.7 million on the rookie deal. He played 17 games, had 98 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit, 1 sack, 9 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. He was targeted 88 times with a 70.5 completion percentage against him, 4 touchdowns allowed, 429 yards after the catch allowed, 27 times that he blitzed, 4 QB hurries, 1 QB knockdown, and 1 pass batted down for a Pro Bowl nod for him. So, again, he's got a lot to look forward to, and this is a really good team for him to have that ability of showing that. Seattle's always been a really good defensive minded team. They have a great defensive minded coach, and Devin Witherspoon's game is only going to get even better. A guy that was actually number 6 as a corner, and he has dropped to honorable mention, and it's honestly because of, well, he's a veteran. He's slowing down, and he's not as top tier as some of these other corners right now, but he's still productive. He's still a threat, and he's still going to be extremely valuable for his new team. The ex-Philadelphia Eagle Darius Slay, 34 years old, 12 years in the league. He signed a one-year, $10 million contract with the Steelers. Seems like they're all in for a long playoff run, and obviously Darius Slay is a great veteran there. 14 games played, 49 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 13 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, targeted 75 times with a 54.7 completion percentage, 456 yards allowed, 2 touchdowns allowed, 134 yards after the catch allowed, and he blitzed 1 time. 4 games that he played in the playoffs, 14 tackles, 1 interception, 5 pass deflections, targeted 30 times for 60 completion percentage, 231 yards allowed, 2 touchdowns allowed, and 70 yards after the catch allowed. No accolades, but he is a Super Bowl champion. This is an all-pro talent. This is a guy that's been in the Pro Bowl. This is a guy that's a very key contributor to the Eagles' success, and I do believe bringing in a pretty veteran presence to Pittsburgh, I think will definitely help guys like Joey Porter Jr. So overall, I like this move, and I think Darius Slay is going to be a big, big, impactful player for Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we can't deny Joey Porter Jr.'s success and what he can become, which is a really, really, really good corner. Joey Porter Jr. is going to learn a lot through Darius Slay, and yeah, he's got a lot of potential here. Darius Slay, or Joey Porter Jr., excuse me, I'm getting these two names here. 25 years old, 2 years in the league. Again, last year honorable mention. 2 years, $3.68 million on his rookie deal. He had 16 games played, 70 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 interception, 7 pass deflections, targeted 86 times for a 62.8 completion percentage, 684 yards allowed, 0 touchdowns allowed, 201 yards after the catch allowed. The one playoff game, he had 6 tackles, 1 pass deflection. He was targeted 5 times for an 80 completion percentage and 23 yards allowed, and as well as 7 yards after the catch allowed. Again, 0 touchdowns allowed is really good for a corner. That's exactly what you want to see. And again, he is a young guy, a young up and coming star, I think. And yeah, Pittsburgh's got someone here with Joey Porter Jr. Moving on the Pittsburgh Steelers train, how about Beanie Bishop, man? Yeah, Beanie Bishop is another young corner that is definitely looking to continue his success and get even better. Again, Darius Slay is going to impact Beanie Bishop as well. Beanie Bishop's 25 years old, 1 year in the league, 2 years, $2.03 million. This man played 17 games, had 45 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit, a half a sack, 4 INTs, 7 pass deflections, and 1 fumble recovery. He was targeted 63 times, 57.1 completion percentage, 388 yards allowed, 2 touchdowns allowed, 179 yards after the catch allowed, 11 times that he blitzed with 1 QB hurry. No playoff experience, did not play in the playoffs, but this is a really good player. This is a young guy. Him and Joey Porter Jr. We already were looking at some pretty stout defense in the secondary, but again, you got that guy with Darius Slay. this team could definitely be a nightmare to line up with on game day. Speaking of Eagles, we do have Cooper DeJean, who definitely impressed a lot of people, and a lot of people actually saw him as a draft steal, which he lived up exactly to that name. Cooper DeJean was phenomenal last year. He's still super young. He can get even better than he was, and this is a Eagles defense that improved a lot on the secondary because of a Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean, 22 years old, 1 year in the league, 3 years, $4.91 million in his rookie deal. He played 16 games, had 51 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a QB hit, 6 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumbles that unfortunately he lost, but 3 fumble recoveries with that. So, half a sack. He was targeted 68 times with a 66.2 completion percentage, 374 yards allowed, 214 yards after the catch allowed, and he blitzed 8 times. 4 games that he played in the playoffs, he had 18 tackles, 1 interception. One interception. That interception was a touchdown in the Super Bowl. 4 pass deflections, 1 fumble. He had a fumble recovery though. Targeted 18 times, so with a 61.1 completion percentage. 69 yards after the catch allowed. Blitzed 2 times. He was an all rookie on the all rookie team. He was fourth in defensive rookie of the year voting, and he's a Super Bowl champion as a rookie. He's young. This is a team that can be a dynasty. And yeah, without a Cooper DeJean, man, I don't know where they would be. Especially, like I said, the secondary is a very important piece of a defense. And Cooper DeJean, he's just going to get even better. And I'm so excited to watch what he does this year. Okay, starting, well, following that Cooper DeJean thing, how about the fact that they got two, two stud corners in the draft last year, and obviously those 2 corners became starters, and those 2 starters became part of a Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles team. Quinion Mitchell is phenomenal. So Cooper DeJean, he is a hard hitter. He definitely is not afraid to do the dirty work. Quinion Mitchell, again, he's also an enforcer, man. He's a very physical corner. He's gonna get, definitely in between you, make you uncomfortable. He's gonna do everything he can to make sure that he wins that one-on-one. So Quinion Mitchell, 24 years old, 1 year in the league, 3 years, $6.4 million on his rookie deal. He had 16 games that he played, 46 tackles, 12 pass deflections, targeted 75 times for a 54.7 completion percentage, gave up 472 yards, 3 touchdowns allowed, 74 yards after the catch allowed in the playoffs. 4 games played, 14 tackles, 2 interceptions, 4 pass deflections, targeted 20 times for a 50 completion percentage, 1 touchdown that he allowed, 54 yards allowed, and 29 yards after the catch allowed. He was actually second in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting, and he was part of the All Rookie team. Again, the Eagles knocked it out of the park with these corner picks, and yeah, Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell for a long time, they're going to be a nightmare. We have the former Saint Paulson Adebo, who I think is going to be a great addition to this New York Giants team, who's obviously rebuilding and trying to figure out a way of being competitive. Obviously, that's probably not going to be a thing when they have the hardest schedule and they're trying to even figure out a culture and how to build this team, man. But Adebo is a really good acquisition for him. I think he's going to do solid work, and he's actually going to get recognized, I think, for some of the games because he is underrated, but he is a solid corner. Last year was honorable mention as well. 26 years old, 4 years in the league, 3 years, $54 million that he signed with the Giants. 7 games that he played, but he had 52 tackles. He had a tackle for loss, a QB hit, 3 interceptions, 10 pass deflections, targeted 65 times, 60 completion percentage, 529 yards allowed, 1 touchdown, 230 yards after the catch, blitzed 1 time, and had a QB knockdown. I'm pretty sure it was 17 games played. I'm just saying 7 from my paper, so my bad. But yeah, he had a solid year, and I believe he's going to have a solid year with the Giants. It's going to make him, obviously, put some pressure on him to be a corner number 1 in New York. even though he definitely shared that status in New Orleans. But I do believe he's going to do well in New York, and I think he's a solid choice for their pickup. We got Carlton Davis. Honestly, one of the most overlooked guys. He is definitely a solid veteran player for teams that he's played for. I mean, first of all, he won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucks and was a pretty big key piece of that defense. Went to Detroit and definitely showcased some real talent there, and obviously bolstered their secondary. And now he's moving on and definitely building a culture in New England. It's a great sign for New England. They spent a lot of money on some key guys. Carlton Davis is definitely one of those key guys that's gonna obviously become a super impactful player, not just for him, for his teammates, and it might even make that growth for Christian Gonzalez. He might take a step up there. So him and Carlton Davis, or Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis, can be very effective. Carlton Davis, 20 years old, 7 years in the league, 3 years, $54 million from the paid for the Patriots. 13 games played, 56 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 11 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, targeted 76 times, 55.3 completion percentage, 567 yards allowed, 2 touchdowns allowed, 182 yards after the catch allowed, and blitzed 1 time. In the 2 games that he played in the playoffs, 11 tackles, 2 passes deflected, 11 targets, 54.5 completion percentage, 48 yards allowed, 13 yards after the catch. I believe it's one because he was part of Detroit and they lost in the divisional as the number 1 seed. He was eighth in fumble return yards. So, again, pretty good. Nothing too extraordinary, but again, I think he's an effective guy. He's going to be a veteran presence, and I think it's a great sign for New England. So we do have the old Pittsburgh Steeler who got signed to the Chargers this season. I think it's a great addition for the Chargers, and he's been pretty great everywhere he's been. Carolina, Pittsburgh, and now I do see he's going to do well in Los Angeles again with the Chargers. Dante Jackson, 29 years old, 7 years in the league, 2 years, $13 million with the Chargers. 15 games that he played, 38 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 5 INTs, 8 passes deflected, 1 fumble recovery, targeted 67 times for 59.7 completion percentage, 3 touchdowns allowed, 217 yards after the catch allowed, and 551 yards allowed. The one playoff game was 2 tackles, 1 target, which was completed, 15 yards allowed, 1 touchdown allowed. He was sixth in interceptions, and he was eighth in interception return yards. Overall, I mean, yeah, he's a ball hawk. He definitely has a nose for picking some passes off, and I do believe his veteran leadership will also rub off on the guy that is very new on the Chargers. He was a rookie last year, and he's, I believe, up next, which is Tarheeb Still. He was a rookie corner this past year, and again, he's got a lot of upside to him. I think the Chargers with Dante Jackson and Tarib Still, it's going to be a potential nightmare for opponents. It's definitely going to be a lot better, obviously, for their defensive side of the football, especially in a very hard division in the AFC West. And yeah, I'm excited to see what he does. Tarheeb Still, 23 years old, 1 year in the league, 3 years, $3.5 million on his rookie deal. 14 games that he played, 62 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit, 4 interceptions. One of them was returned for touchdown. 10 passes deflected, half a sack, targeted 76 times for a 64.5 completion percentage, 563 yards given up, 4 touchdowns allowed, 233 yards after the catch allowed, and blitzed 5 times. One game that he played in the playoffs, 3 tackles, 2 targets, both of them completed for 100%. 13 yards allowed, 3 yards after the catch allowed. He was 7th in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting, 10th in interceptions, and 2nd in interception for touchdown. Yeah, I mean, overall, yes, he can definitely get a lot better in a lot of categories, and absolutely, I believe that, all in all, he can continuously improve in the IQ of understanding the game, especially at the highest level in the NFL. I believe that he's got so much potential, and he could be extremely dangerous. So I'm so excited to see what he's going to do next year, and I do believe that he's got a lot of upside to him. Got a young corner, another young corner, man. Jalen Jones. The Indianapolis Colts, again, always do produce some good defensive players. Jalen Jones, no exception. 23 years old, 2 years in the league, 2 years, 2.17 million in his rookie deal. 17 games played, 100 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 12 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble. Targeted 101 times, 66.3 completion percentage, 814 yards allowed, 1 touchdown allowed, and 276 yards after the catch allowed. He got targeted a lot, man. And I believe, obviously, when you don't get targeted as much, that's because you're a top corner. Obviously, he's young, he's learning, but yeah, he's not afraid to hit and to get hit, and I'm excited to see what he does. Jones can learn a lot from. It's going to be Kenny Moore, the second, who has been on an honorable mention before. Last year he was, and this year he is again. Yeah, Kenny Moore has been very productive, and again, like I said, he can teach a lot of the young guys how to really, observe and how to be better with matching up one-on-ones with some receivers. And Kenny Moore's been doing great at this. 29 years old, 8 years in the league, 2 years, $18.5 million, 15 games that he played, 78 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits, 3 interceptions, 12 pass deflections, 7 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and half a sack. 1 fumble recovery for touchdown. Targeted 74 times for a 63.5 completion percentage. 408 yards allowed. 5 touchdowns allowed. 208 yards after the catch allowed. Blitzed 18 times. Had a QB hurry and a QB knockdown. Obviously, he definitely could be targeted hopefully less. His completion percentage could be less, but still solid. We got a Houston Texan. We're staying in the AFC South. Kamari Lassiter, who was also a rookie last year. So there's just a lot of really good rookie corner class here. Kamari Lassiter fit really well with the Texans' defensive scheme. Him and Derek Stingley, I think that's a great pair. Kamari Lassiter, 22 years old, 1 year in the league. He's got 3 years, $4.83 million left on his rookie deal. 14 games that he played, 58 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, a safety, 3 interceptions, 10 pass deflections, targeted 73 times for 43.8 completion percentage, which is the best so far. 424 yards allowed, 4 touchdowns allowed, 163 yards after the catch allowed. Blitzed 7 times with a QB hurry. The 2 playoff games, he had 5 tackles, a tackle for loss, an interception, and 2 pass deflections. He was 10th in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting, and yeah, I'm really stoked to see what he's going to do in the future and this season. Got a late bloomer in Keyshawn Nixon, who has been an All-Pro, first team actually, but based on his returning duties, now he's actually playing a full-time role as the corner in Green Bay, and he's done a tremendous job at that. He's 20 years old, 6 years in the league, 2 years, $9.67 million, 17 games played, 88 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 6 QB hits, 3 sacks and interceptions, 7 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, targeted 87 times, 57.5 for completion percentage, 464 yards allowed, 3 touchdowns allowed, 153 yards after the catch allowed, blitzed 9 times, 3 QB knockdowns. In the 1 playoff game, he had 2 tackles, a fumble, targeted 4 times with a 25 completion percentage, 28 yards allowed, and 12 yards after the catch allowed. He was ninth in forced fumbles. Again, he's assuming this role, and I'm assuming that he's going to continuously succeed as a starting corner. Hopefully, he continues to do well. Got Jair Alexander, who was number 3 last year, and he dropped down tremendously in honorable mention. It's sad because, yeah, he's been injured a lot. He's been very unreliable, and Green Bay did not re-sign him, and he ended up signing to the Baltimore Ravens, who are secondary U over there, and I've always made a pretty good name for having a really good secondary. Having him have a prove-it deal, I think this is going to be tremendous for him. I think if he stays healthy, he's one of the best corners in the game, man. 20 years old, 7 years in the league, 1 year, $4 million with the Ravens. 7 games that he played, 16 tackles, 2 interceptions, one of them touchdowns, 7 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery. Targeted 30 times, 56.7 completion percentage, 231 yards allowed, 30 touchdowns allowed, and 88 yards after the catch allowed. Again, when he is healthy, he is elite. We got Cam Taylor Britt of the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, I mean, the Bengals have a very questionable secondary, questionable DBs, but Cam Taylor Britt has been extremely effective and extremely valuable to him at such a short amount of time in his career. 25 years old, 3 years in the league, 1 year, $3.65 million left in his contract, on his rookie deal actually. 17 games played, 77 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit, half of a sack, 3 interceptions, one of them for touchdowns, 16 pass deflections, targeted 91 times, 64.8 completion percentage, 734 yards allowed, 6 touchdowns allowed, 224 yards after the catch allowed, blitzed 2 times. He was second in interception touchdowns. He was fifth in pass deflections. Yes, his touchdowns allowed can definitely decrease, and yes, the amount of yards he has given up can definitely decrease. But he is one of the most reliable, if not the most reliable DB in Cincinnati, and he's been doing a great job this year. Hopefully next year he continues to step it up. Honorable mention this year. Honorable mention. And again, he's been snubbed of all pros, and I get that. Jalen Johnson, man. Yeah, he's a very reliable Chicago Bears corner. He's been extremely effective when he's out there on the field. I do want to see a little bit more out of him. I think he does allow completions a lot more than he should, but he's a pretty good corner, man. 26 years old, 3 years in the league, 3 years, $48 million, 17 games played, 53 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 8 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, targeted 56 times, 66.1 completion percentage, 517 yards allowed, 2 touchdowns allowed, and 205 yards after the catch allowed. He was a Pro Bowler, so that does bode well for him, and I do want to see what he does next year. Next up, it's Carolina Panther corner, J.C. Horn. Yeah, J.C. Horn, since he's entered the league, I think he's definitely had a lot on his plate in terms of needing to produce and produce quickly. And, he's definitely had to adjust to the NFL and definitely he needed to get better at his craft. And he's been tremendous. He's definitely a very reliable defender in Carolina, and he's been a pretty good staple for him. J.C. Horn's 25 years old. He's been in the league for 4 years. He has a 4-year, $100 million contract. 15 games played, 68 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits, 2 sacks, an interception, 13 pass deflections, targeted 77 times, 53.2 completion percentage, which is fantastic, 474 yards, 6 touchdowns allowed, 144 yards after the catch allowed, and blitzed 5 times. He was a Pro Bowler this year. Definitely a lot closer to a top 10 list. I would like to see the touchdowns that he allows to be decreased, but overall, he is a solid corner, and I do enjoy watching him. Christian Benford. Christian Benford of the Buffalo Bills has definitely turned into a star. And, Buffalo obviously have had their fair share of great corners or good corners, and Christian Benford definitely is going to be one of those guys that I hope to see even more on this list. Definitely came into his own this year, and it was really nice to see his level of play. Christian Benford's 24 years old, 4 years in the league, 4 years, $69 million, 15 games played, 68 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits, 2 sacks, an interception, 13 pass deflections, targeted 77 times, 53.2 completion percentage, 474 yards allowed, 6 touchdowns allowed, 144 yards after the catch allowed, and he blitzed 5 times. Yeah, I mean, overall, solid numbers, and I am very, very stoked to see what he does this coming year. Okay, next up, it's actually pretty surprising to me, but it's Demodore Lenoir from the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners have always had okay corners for since 2000, and so having him here definitely it's refreshing, and definitely a guy that's not someone that you just look at and you're like, whoa, he's somewhere here. You don't really know the name that well, but you should. Lenoir, 25 years old, 4 years in the league, 5 years, $76.8 million, 15 games played, 85 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 9 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, targeted 87 times, 62.1 completion percentage, 488 yards allowed, 1 touchdown allowed, 284 yards after the catch allowed, and blitzed 15 times. Yeah, he's a solid guy, solid choice, and I do want to see what he does this year. They're definitely going to rely on him a lot on this team. Taylor of the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, he's definitely a very physical corner. Definitely more of a hard hitter. And I mean, he's going to assume the role of number one really because of Adebo's exit, and we don't really have another solid corner for this team. So it's going to be a test for Lante Taylor and to see what he's made out of. But hey, he's had a solid and tremendous year this year. So honorable mention, as like last year, honorable mention. 26 years old, 3 years in the league. He's got 1 year, $3.65 million on his rookie deal. 17 games played, 89 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 6 QB hits, 4 sacks, 16 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, targeted 103 times, 62.1 completion percentage, 852 yards allowed, 7 touchdowns allowed, 372 yards allowed, yards after the catch allowed, 15 times that he blitzed, 1 QB hurry, and 1 QB knockdown. He was also 5th in pass deflections. It's a guy that definitely needs to work on making sure that receivers don't get in the end zone. And obviously, he did give up a decent amount of yardage, man. So he got targeted a lot. So, it's going to happen. But I think with the reps, he can get even better. And I do want to see what he does this year, especially as the leading man. Next up is Charvarius Ward of not the San Francisco 49ers anymore. He was number 5 last year. He's an honorable mention this year. He dropped basically due to injuries, but he is a solid corner, and he definitely has potential of being top 5 in the league and top 10 in the league, especially at his most dominant. So overall, very excited to see it. There's just so many corners in the league, so you just got to pay attention to a whole lot of names. Charvarius Ward, definitely still honorable mention to me. 30 years old, 7 years in the league, 3 years, $54 million. He signed with the Colts. 12 games played, 54 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 7 pass deflections, targeted 52 times, 61.5 completion percentage, 389 yards allowed, 5 touchdowns allowed, and 95 yards after the catch allowed. A lot of touchdowns allowed, but this is definitely a guy that's solid, and I want to see him play even more and see what he does, especially on a new team. Finally, we have reached the final player, but it's not an honorable mention. It is a retirement of not just any player, but one of the best corners of his time, of his era, and definitely one of the best picks the Cardinals could have made. Obviously, Patrick Peterson, a lot could be said about him, but he was shut down, and he was competing for being the best corner with the Revis and with the Sherman. So, again, he definitely was a nightmare to go against, and, with time, he might have lost a step, but he was still a shutdown guy. 13 years in the league for Arizona, Minnesota, and Pittsburgh. He played 201 games. He had 652 total tackles, 15 tackles for loss. He had 4 QB hits. He had 36 interceptions. 2 interceptions went for touchdowns. 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, or 12 fumble recoveries. He was targeted 441 times with a 61.2 completion percentage career-wise, which is not bad. 3,367 yards allowed, which he was known to give yardage out a lot. He did allow 24 touchdowns. He did allow 1,278 yards after the catch. He blitzed 16 times. He had a QB hurry, and he had 2 sacks. The 5 playoff games, he had 18 tackles, 1 interception, 1 pass deflection, targeted 13 times, 76.9 completion percentage, and he blitzed 2 times. Punt return wise, 195 of them for 1,816 punt return yards, and he had 4 touchdowns with him. He was part of the Hall of Fame All 2010s team. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, and he was a 3-time first team All-Pro. Again, Patrick Peterson will be missed. I hope to see him in the game a lot more as a coach or a coordinator or announcer or whatnot, because definitely he was one of the smartest corners of his generation. And again, it is sad to see this, but definitely time to go. Had a great time, and I wish him nothing but the best.